What is going on, Alpha Hunters? Hope everybody's having a very terrific Thursday. We got NVDA data, we got Fed minutes that came out yesterday. Doesn't seem like there's too much there, and then we also got jobs data that came out this morning. So got quite a bit kind of going on, definitely today compared to what we've had the rest of the week before today, as there wasn't really much kind of going on before today, and obviously NVIDIA is going to be the big one, right? I mean, they're huge, huge, probably the biggest important tech stock right now as far as like AI and the whole AI theme, investing theme kind of goes. So, yeah, we'll talk about some of them. Let's just kind of go through the markets here real quick. Nice little gap up here. We gapped up roughly 0.6% on the S&P 500 on the SPY, and nice little fade back down. Kind of got neutral there about 25 minutes or so after we opened, and then just kind of chopped sideways and kind of rolled over here over the past hour and a half, and have kind of just broke down. Currently at session lows, trading down. Currently down about 0.6%, so about 1.2% from high to low, open to current level on the day. So that's kind of where we are. Qs, not doing a little bit better. Obviously, NVIDIA had good earnings, and we'll go through the NVIDIA stuff because that was, I mean, the numbers, their business is great, but we'll go through that. Nice gap up here on the Qs. Nice 1.1% gap up here. Nice little fade. Didn't get negative there on the initial sell down. But yeah, I mean, we're starting to see it here over the past hour and a half. So currently negative by about 1/3%. Has sold down pretty good amount. So it's currently sold down about 1.5% roughly on the day from the open. So yeah, pretty good sell down there on the day. IWM though, whew, IWM currently down 1.6%. You can see this thing just keep dropping. Nice little gap up here, gapped up about 0.4%. You can see that initial sell down kind of chop sideways, but man, the past hour and a half was really getting this thing broken down. And when we take a look at the daily, it's, man, that thing, nice little gap up here on the DIA as well, but this thing keeps selling down, currently down a little bit over 1.33%. RSP, same kind of deal, gap up, fade, sideways, dropping here over the past hour and a half. So as we take a look across many of these, I mean, we see some pretty good selling coming in. And I would, man, this is a tough one. Because we're breaking right through these moving averages. I think I'd still potentially rather be bullish. That's a tough one. This is a tough one. I think you're still okay to buy the dip for now, just mostly because we're not going to waterfall off here. So you could definitely say buy the dip, expecting some kind of, we'll get a bounce, even if we do roll over on the markets and sell down later on, and we don't take out the previous highs of like earlier this week on the RSP at least. You know, you see the bounce, and then you just move your stop losses to wherever, just below wherever we bounce. So kind of this thing I'm saying is, I would say it's okay to buy the dip, keep buying the dip here. You're probably having your stop losses at lower levels, but if we get that bounce, then you're going to move your stop losses right underneath where we bounce. Okay, I was kind of expecting a little bit more of a pullback for the first half of the week, but we finally really getting it today across a lot of these. And the DIA, you see it's getting hit. It's all right, not a really big deal. Yeah, I would just continue to be buying some dips here. IWM down 1.8%. There's some kind of concerning things kind of going on out there in the market, but I think the market frothiness, people just want to keep being bullish, and I don't think that's really going to go anytime soon. You see the Qs here. So the Qs, even though it's sold down pretty good throughout the day, the Qs, I mean, haven't even gotten down to the 10 EMA. So this is kind of like another thing that I think, I mean, we'll see probably some bullishness come back in here over the next day or two. So I would just let the Qs probably keep pulling back, probably bounce off the moving averages, maybe carry a little bit higher. We'll get back up to the high that we saw this morning around 460. Yeah, I mean, yeah, why not, right? So tech keeps doing really good, especially on earnings. I just question the big tech companies spending on AI, but NVIDIA is the big beneficiary. So there's that. SPY is getting to an interesting spot here. We are getting really close to that 10 EMA. Maybe we hit it today. Probably will, because I mean, we're so close to it. Do we smash through it and just keep dropping? I mean, it's possible. I mean, coming down to fill this gap, maybe. Obviously, the previous highs right here around 524 or so, 523, 524. Makes a lot of sense there. So, yeah, I mean, we probably have a little bit further to go down, and I wouldn't be shocked if we did. So, but yeah, I think those are just going to be some dip buying opportunities anywhere, basically here now and for like the next 5 points, or not 5 points. I'm sorry, 3-4 points lower there on the SPY. Looking for the bounce. Once we get a bounce, once we get a couple days of bullishness, that'll obviously clearly be the bounce spot. That's where you're going to move your stop loss, right? So here in the next couple days, as probably even go into early parts of next week, then we'll take a look at that. So let's talk about the big one. The big the Coon, man, NVIDIA. They did really well. Again, I'm going to go to after hours, extended hours here. So yesterday, they did fantastic on numbers and all that. They did great. The thing that really kind of took this stock into just the next level was they announced a 10-for-1 stock split coming. I wouldn't have thought that they were. I mean, I didn't know they were going to do that. That would have been the one. That would be the one thing that I would have said. I wouldn't want to be bearish on it, just because the market sentiment, investor sentiment around stock splits is different. And yesterday, when I mentioned like the only way I'd play NVIDIA is if it gapped up, especially over 1,000. 1,000 was really the number I was thinking. Like if it gapped up, I would want to look for the sell. And I still think it probably is a good idea, just because I think there's going to be a lot of people locking in profits for over the past year and a half of gains that they've had, and especially with a pretty good gap up today. But we see a lot of selling on the gap up today across all the other markets, right? We're seeing it everywhere. NVIDIA had a little bit more of a bullish run, and that kind of has a little bit to go with, well, a 10-to-1 stock split that was announced, which brings in a little bit of a different dynamic rather than just business earnings and fundamentals and technicals and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I wouldn't really care to play it, honestly. They're going to do a 10-for-1. I think the opportunity here coming up on NVIDIA for bearishness would probably be after the stock split, but that's just kind of my opinion. I wouldn't want to do it before if you're really interested in being bearish, but anyways, I think the 10-for-1 stock split just kind of ruined the opportunity for a fade back down. So to me, it's just, I wouldn't be interested in wanting to do it now. Anyways, that's just kind of my thoughts on it. NVIDIA crushed numbers. He basically, Jensen, the CEO, basically just said, like, we just see so much demand. We're having a hard time keeping up. So, I mean, and those are good problems to have, right? Those are good problems to have. So that's kind of where they're at. They're doing really good, but the 10-for-1 stock split was a big deal. So it'll take it back down from about 1,043 currently to about 104. So there you go. All right, let's take a look at the VIX. VIX, nice gap down. Look at that crush job that we have had over the past month on the VIX. Jeez. Yes, really starting to rise here today. You can see that lower open, and it is climbing here ever since a little bit before 1 o'clock Eastern. So, okay. The dollar. All right, so dollar and yields, man. We're going to get into these two. So, I love talking me some dollar and yields. Man, we saw a little bit of that compression that we kind of talked about. We had that breakdown last week. Obviously, we're getting the bounce back, into the moving averages. And we kind of got sandwiched in here the early parts of this week, and we saw the bounce back up yesterday. And that was like, okay, we're going to retest a little bit higher, then we come back down. Honestly, today's candle with that lower wick that we're putting in today, and we're trading up at the session, like, look at that. Look at that. Like, we dropped off, and then the stock market, look at that. The stock market opened, and the DXY just took off. So there's no new data that came out at that time period. It's just the stock market open. So you're just seeing, just rotation, intraday rotation, which typically you don't normally see that. So that's kind of an interesting one. Gold retreating. Okay, let it come down to some levels that are interesting to you. You're probably going to be looking to buy some more dips. We do know that, we formed a pretty good 5-wave count here. Even if you do take a look at the futures, which you always kind of keep your eye on futures on any of these commodities. We made a new high over this one, and we've kind of retreated from there. So yeah, it kind of makes sense, I guess. I would just still be bullish on any kind of pullbacks. Yields, taking a look at yields. So yeah, kind of like the dollar, we got a little sandwich action kind of going on early parts of this week. Nice pop today. See if it holds. Kind of mentioned before that with that breakdown that we had last week, excuse me, if we see the bounce and get back higher, I don't think it's going to be great because, that kind of just would go to show you that investors are selling bonds. And I don't think it'd be a great situation for one, the U.S. government, or two, the markets in general. But, we'll try to deal with any opportunities if we can if those times arise. But, it's got to be kind of concerning, though, that we did have the breakdown last week and we bounced. So we can kind of consolidated there for a couple days, and then we're kind of breaking back up. So all this kind of was over the beginning parts of May was really kind of a retest into these two highs, bouncing off the long-term moving averages. So yeah, kind of an interesting, not really looking maybe great for equities, especially if we continue to push higher on yields. 10-2 inversion, trying to break down some more. Okay, so interesting, breaking down some more. I'm curious how long we're going to be inverted on that yield curve, because we've been there for a while. So here's another one. HYG, high yield corporate bonds, breaking back down again. So we definitely smacked our head right into this kind of support and resistance area around 77.50. We came back down. We tried to consolidate and bounce off the moving averages coming up, but we broke down yesterday, and we're breaking down big time today, getting back below the moving averages. So now we got a pretty large pocket here back down to these levels. Obviously, we do have a support level like right here. Let me put another line here real quick, right? So we got a lot of lows back in this area, back over here, and then this is also where we smacked our head when we were trying to bounce back higher. This is also where we rechecked back on May 10th. So it's an interesting spot to say, yeah, if we get below that, you're probably just looking for a move back down to these levels, down around below 76. So yeah. Past couple days on bonds, not really looking good. HYG, or the LQD, yeah, also breaking down today. Not looking great there. TLT, trying to bounce off the moving averages. We'll see if it holds. Obviously, we do have a pretty large body here, kind of engulfing yesterday. So maybe next day or two could be very interesting. The other thing I do like playing is when you have like these downtrending lines or even uptrending lines, and then whatever asset you're looking at is just hugging that line. I do like to kind of counterplay that and take that breakout because it's not immediately rejecting. Like if it would immediately rejected, kind of like last week or the beginning parts of this week, and it just kept rolling down, then I could say, okay, it'll probably just keep going down. But the fact that it's just hugging the kind of upper ends of this channel, this downtrending channel, I kind of want to say that it probably would break out and go higher. I do like those because when it does happen, and you can just wait. If it does break this upper end of this channel, it will drive very hard. And I'll bring up one that was watching on AMD for a while. This one. All right, we kind of talked about it right here on this day, May 8th, and then we finally got that breakout, and you see how quickly it moved after it broke that downtrending line. So that's kind of the same kind of deal there, on the TLT, which means yields would most likely be dropping probably pretty substantially. And so we'll just have to take a look when that happens, but the fact that it's not immediately dropping off, yeah, maybe we do see a little pop coming soon. All right, take a look at that sector rotation. Yeah, we got some squirreliness kind of going on today, especially with the gap up today. And tech, healthcare, staples, materials, energies, industrials, communications, utilities, discretionaries, financials, and then real estate at the lower end of the day. Interesting. Okay. So intraday, if you take out the gap, staples and healthcare doing pretty good. Kind of at the upper ends of the day. Materials and utilities doing pretty good. Real estate, industrials kind of in line with the market there. Financials also kind of in line with the market there. You got energies, communications, tech, and discretionaries at the lower ends of the day.